The Oppo Find X2 Pro is arguably my favorite Android flagship of 2020, but how does it stack up against Apple's finest iPhone 11 Pro Max? The Oppo comes paired with 12 gigs of RAM and an octa-core Snapdragon 865 processing chip under the hood, while the iPhone comes paired with 4 gigs of RAM and a hexa-core A13 Bionic chip made by Apple. Both phones have been updated in the software department respectively. I just got a new one for the iPhone, that is. We're going to keep the Oppo at QHD+ to match a similar pixel rate of the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and we're going to keep things at 120 Hz on the Oppo Find X2 Pro. We're also going to go ahead and enable performance mode on the X2 Pro, and we're going to leave animations all turned on both devices since the iPhone has no way of completely getting rid of it. Round 1 is going to be all about boot, fingerprints, and Face ID. Round 2 will be all about initial opening of app speed, and round 3 will be all about RAM management. We're going to be using my trained little fingers here, so to keep things accurate, we're going to pop GoPro footage at the bottom left-hand corner. This is TechNick, and without further ado, let's go. We're going to start here with a simple boot to see which one can start up the phone slightly faster than the other one, and the Oppo gets 20 seconds as opposed to 25 on the 11 Pro Max, giving it its first points in round 1. When going into the actual devices over here to see which one refreshes the app icons first, it was too close to call over there. We had an animation on the iPhone and we had a slight delay on the Oppo, very close to call over there. When it comes to fingerprints, optical underneath the Oppo as opposed to 3D Face ID on the 11 Pro Max, the Oppo is pretty much quicker every single time. It goes straight into the phone, bypasses the lock screen, and it actually unlocks faster as well, getting it its second points, base 3 out of 3 there in round 1. Next thing we're going to test out is the 2D face unlock on the Oppo as opposed to the 3D face unlock on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. If you take a look at the icons at the top of both screens with that little unlock icon over there, they pretty much do the same thing every single time, matching it out there so neither of them get a point, closing out round 1 with the Oppo on 2 points and the iPhone with 0 points there. Make sure that high performance mode is indeed on the Find X2 Pro, and we're going to go ahead and start with the camera app over here. Too close to call when opening, flipping it around, the Find X2 Pro gets its first points over there. Taking a snap, the iPhone takes it quicker, but the Oppo saved the photo faster, so I didn't allocate a point there. Going into photos, it was too close to call, and going into the actual picture, once again too close to call over here. System apps are going to be pretty similar here, with calculator once again too close to call. Our next app on the cards here is the phone app, and going into it, the Find X2 Pro opens it up slightly faster than the iPhone, and going into settings, it was too close to call over there. We're going to start with our next proper app over here, which is indeed Speed Check and Internet Speed Test. The iPhone opens it up quicker, getting it its first points over there. Now we're going to speed things up 800%, as you can see at the bottom right hand corner, to get through the test. We're not checking download and upload speed, but more so how fast we can actually run the test. 21 seconds for the Oppo, 23 for the iPhone, getting the Oppo its third point in round 2 over here. The next app that we have coming up over here is going to be Spotify, to see which one can open up the app quicker, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max gets its second point, now just 1 point behind the Find X2 Pro. Going into Photoshop Express, the Apple iPhone 11 Pro Max gets its third point over there, and going into the actual photo, the Oppo Find X2 Pro open it up quicker, but when we save and export the photo to gallery, they save at the exact same time, with NVMe on the iPhone and UFS 3 on the Oppo Find X2 Pro. Going into Adobe Rush over here, the Oppo Find X2 Pro opens up the app slightly faster, and we're going to go ahead and see which one can indeed open up the actual project quicker than the other. So we're going to tap on them at the same time over here, and the Oppo Find X2 Pro opens up the project a hell of a lot quicker than that of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. We're going to go ahead and export this file. It is indeed a 4K 25 frames per second file. We're going to compress it to 1080p and match the frame rate of 25 frames per second, and hit export over here to see which one can indeed export it quicker with the NVMe storage on the iPhone and UFS 3 on the Oppo Find X2 Pro. We sped it up 200% over here, 6 seconds for the iPhone 11 Pro Max with its NVMe, and 13 seconds for the UFS 3 storage on the Find X2 Pro, giving Apple its fourth point over here as opposed to 6 on the Find X2 Pro. Very close test so far, after getting its fifth point now when opening up Astral VPN, but the Oppo turned it on slightly faster there, now 2 points ahead over there. I didn't expect it to be as close as it is, but going into our first social media app here, the iPhone 11 Pro Max opened it up quicker, just 1 point behind that of the Oppo now. We needed a VPN here in China in order to open the rest of the apps here, because they are indeed banned, and now we are tied with 7 points apiece after opening up Instagram. 8 points now for the Find X2 Pro after opening up Twitter slightly faster, faster than the 11 Pro Max. And the next app that we have over here is indeed YouTube. We're going to test out opening of the app speed, and we're going to go to my profile and open up a video. Opening up the actual app, the Oppo Find X2 Pro gets it. We're going to shoot over to my profile over here to see which one can go to my channel faster, and that is indeed allocated to the 11 Pro Max there, now just 1 point behind the Find X2 Pro. Going into a video, the Oppo Find X2 Pro plays it quicker and loads the entire screen quicker than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, giving it its first double-digit point there, now with 10 points as opposed to 8 on the 11 Pro Max. Bear in mind that the Oppo Find X2 Pro is actually a tad more expensive in most countries than the 11 Pro Max for the same 256 gig variant. Going into Netflix over here, the Oppo gets its 11th point, and now it's 12 points when going into my profile on Netflix. Next app here is Google Chrome. We're going to see which one can open it up quicker, and it goes to the 11 Pro Max, now just 3 points behind that of the Find X2 Pro. First game that we have here in the app tray is indeed Subway Surfers, and the 11 Pro Max opens it up slightly quicker, now just 2 points behind the Oppo with 10 points as opposed to 12. Next game here is Flip Diving, see which one can open it up slightly quicker over here, and once again it goes to the 11 Pro Max, now just 1 point behind the Oppo Find X2 Pro with 11 points as opposed to 12. Second last game over here is Temple Run 2. I sped it up a little bit there, then I brought it back to real time, and the Oppo Find X2 Pro opens this one up slightly faster, 13 points as opposed to 11 on the 11 Pro Max. Next one that we have here is the most graphics intense game, which is indeed PUBG Mobile. We're going to see which one can indeed open it up faster. I've sped it up at the bottom right hand corner over there, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max does it in 9 seconds, 7 seconds slower on the Find X2 Pro with 16 seconds there, closing the round with 12 points on the 11 Pro Max as opposed to 13 on the Find X2 Pro. Very, very close indeed, but the Oppo won by just 1 point. Now we're going to test out RAM management. Remember, we have triple the RAM on the Find X2 Pro, but it shouldn't really matter because the optimizations on iPhone are really great. So we got its first point there for the Find X2 Pro, first point for the 11 Pro Max there, and the rest of them are pretty much the same. If they both kill the app, I don't allocate a point, and if they both keep it open, I don't allocate a point either. One of the phones has to keep the app open, and one of the phones has to kill it in order to get allocated a point. So both of them are pretty much closing the round here with 1 point apiece. Very interesting considering the Oppo has 3 times the amount of RAM that the iPhone has. Total points over here, 16 for the Oppo Find X2 Pro as opposed to 13 for the 11 Pro Max. But if we look at raw speed here, which is indeed round 2 that you can see in white, we get 13 points for the Find X2 Pro as opposed to 12 for the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Very similar here. I think speed you can set aside here, whichever one you prefer, Android or iOS is your cup of tea here. I personally love the Oppo Find X2 Pro. I hope that you guys love this video. This is TechNick, and I'll see you in the next one.